Hey everyone, my name is Mecca. I run a firm called Park West Digital, and we help small businesses design, develop, and deploy Airtable bases to scale their operations. So today we're going to be talking about really the basics of Airtable, what you really need to know before you actually go in and start building an Airtable base. So if you are a beginner, this is going to be the perfect video for you to start. If you have used Airtable before or you're familiar with the product, this may not be the best video for you to start off with, but stick around and you might learn a thing or two. So what we're going to be talking about today are really four main questions that we're going to try to answer. So first, what is a database? Second, what is Airtable? Third, why do I need Airtable in the first place? Maybe you don't, maybe you do. I'll help you figure that out. And four, what can Airtable do specifically for my business or team? So without further ado, let's jump right into it. Okay, so what is a database? A database is an extremely important tool that you need to be using in order to stay organized and have true control and visibility over your business. So a database is really just a collection of information that is organized so that it is easy to store, manage, update, and delete whatever you need to do to your data all from one place. It is the source of truth for whatever the data is that you're storing. Could be data about a process, could be inventory data, data about your customers. Anything can be stored in a database. It's up to you to decide what needs to be stored in a database for your business. So when you're thinking about a database, I want you to think about it in terms of the way you would use a spreadsheet. So in a spreadsheet, everything is organized into rows and columns, right? Well, a database is doing just exactly that. A spreadsheet is really actually a type of database when you use it in a certain way. So the same row column structure is how databases are structured as well. So in a database, you store your entities in rows and you store your attributes about those entities in columns. So say you have a spreadsheet of students. Every student is going to be in its own row, right? And you're going to track different information about that student, maybe their grade on a test, maybe their age, their class ranking. All those are going to be attributes about those different entities of students. So let's draw up a quick example to really illustrate, what we're talking about here. All right, got my handy dandy iPad here. I'm gonna share it on the screen for you guys as well. All right, so say you've got your database here. Let's draw our database as one big box, all right? So in this big box, let's use students for an example. In this big box, we're gonna store all of our information about our students. So each student is gonna be its own row in this database. So let's call our student 1, student 2, and student 3. Okay? Each one is in its own row because it's its own individual unique entity. So when we're storing information about these different students, we need to make sure we always have a primary key. This is the ID that is unique for every single row or entity in your database. That's our first attribute. It is a special type of attribute, the primary key, and is super essential to making sure that you have unique primary keys so that you can always refer to a specific element. You always know that that key goes to one element, not multiple, one specific entity. So primary keys are our first attribute. Let's also store our grade. So our grade for each of these students, maybe we have 7th grade, we got 8th grade, we got 9th grade, okay? And let's store one more attribute about our students, which is their class rank. 1st, 2nd, 3rd. Now this seems super basic, right? Super trivial, super elementary, right? But this is really all a database is. It's the same thing. We're just storing information about very specific, entities in an organized manner. And what this allows us to do is, as you can see, if I needed to find out what is the class rank of student 3, you just find that primary key, student 3, and you look up the attribute class rank for that primary key. So super basic, but we got to make sure we say it so that we're all on the same page about the baseline underlying assumptions of what a database is. So, this primary key, just to reiterate, this primary key is the reason why when you go to, Amazon, they're able to track millions of orders because each order has one specific unique ID each customer has one specific unique ID. Same thing with Instagram. You try to make a new Instagram handle, you can only make a unique one that doesn't exist for someone else, because why would it make sense to have two users with the same username? It doesn't make sense. And that's exactly why the primary key needs to exist. That username is a primary key somewhere in some database in Facebook or Meta, I guess we gonna call it, some place in their database. So that's why you need primary keys. The other super important thing about these primary keys is that they allow you to represent relationships between different entities of different types. So if I have a table of students, just like we had here, and then also I had a corresponding table of teachers, there's a way to link those teachers to those students through that primary key. You'd have another attribute on each of those teacher entities that stores a list of student primary keys, their IDs, student 1, student 2, student 3, and then you can always see for whatever teacher, what is their list of students. So that's how we use the primary keys. We have an understanding of what a database is, but what is Airtable? So Airtable is a software that allows you to super easily create a database out of your information that holds the data that matters for your work, okay? So you can use this data to, power the visualizations, processes, and integrations that run your business. You can even create custom applications that run based on triggers when that information in your database changes. That's really one of the super powerful things about Airtable. You can have the power of a developer without needing any of the skill or technical knowledge. So that is what Airtable is in a nutshell, but I haven't really told you what it can do for you. So let's talk about it. First, how do you even know you need Airtable? There's a lot of use cases where Airtable will work really well, and there's a lot of use cases where it won't work so well. You really have to understand what the purpose of the tool is to really understand how it's gonna help you in your business. So the first sign that you might wanna use Airtable is if you track structured data about your business, such as customers, clients, inventory, products, projects, tasks, anything like that is gonna be very, very easily structured in a database like Airtable. Any type of situation where you are trying to track a list of things that are all of the same type is really what we're trying to say here, okay? The second sign that you might want to start using Airtable is if you have workflows that rely on data about your business to make decisions about what to do next. So an example of this would be, say your finance department receives invoices every week, and you want to make sure that you approve them before sending them out to get paid, okay? So you might have a payment provider like Stripe or something else that sends those invoices into your system. Your finance person might have to send that invoice to an approver, have them approve that invoice to be paid, and then, subsequently actually complete the payment of that invoice. With Airtable, you can create a workflow so that when that invoice comes in, it gets set to a certain status. And when that status happens, it triggers an email to get sent to someone else to approve, so on and so forth. The third sign is if you have a team that relies on business data in order to get their job done, okay? So it doesn't matter whether you're a technical person or you're a non-technical person. There's definitely gonna be people in your business that rely on the data in your business to do something else in your business, okay? That's just how business works, right? You enter data as an input, you gotta do something with that data, and you get an output. And that could be in a workflow, it could be for a team, it could be for anybody. So Airtable is gonna be super useful if you have that kind of business, that kind of system set up so that people are relying on data in order to do something else in your business. So what can it actually do for your team or your business, okay? I've got 5 things here that Airtable can do for you, but there's gonna be a huge list of those things, and you're gonna figure that out as you start using the tool. But the first thing is, like I just said, it's gonna create a single source of truth for your business. It's going to give the stakeholders of your business the context they need by bringing the information together into one single place where it's reliable, fresh, and updated constantly, okay? They're always gonna have access to the information they need at any point in time. It's truly gonna give the stakeholders of your business the context they need by bringing the information of your business into one single location. 2, it's gonna enable you to manipulate your data however you need in order to gain the information out of that data that you are looking for, okay? So it makes it super easy to filter, sort, rearrange your data so that you can visualize it the way that you need to in that moment. We got super cool features like Gantt charts, timeline views, gallery views, Kanban views, all these different types of views and structures to visualizing your information are gonna make it super fun and easy to manipulate the data that runs your business. If you have a spreadsheet or a traditional database to manage your data, you're not gonna really have that kind of flexibility. You know, I've used spreadsheets extensively. I've got the conditional formatting going, the filtering, the so on and so forth, and it becomes a mess. It becomes an absolute mess. Airtable takes out the mess and literally makes the data behind your business so beautiful that once you start using it, you will never go back to anything else. Third, it allows you to manage your work from end to end from a single place. I've deployed plenty of project planning or task management Airtable systems that allow people to very simply and very easily, add new data, manipulate data, add new fields, remove fields to their own needs at the time that they need it, okay? It's gonna allow you to track information about your goals and objectives at the most minute level that you need for that particular instance, and then connect that information to other tools in order to automate your tasks and your daily workflow. Fourth, it's gonna allow you to deploy custom business applications. And when I say application, I mean anything you can think of can be built on an Airtable. Every application that you've ever seen had a database behind it. That's all Airtable is. It's just a database. So the same way you might have built a whole website off of a SQL database 10 years ago or 20 years ago, with Airtable, you can do the same thing. You can build a website based off of a database, but you have the addition of the flexibility and the visibility over your data that you didn't have with those older types of databases. So, that combined with the fact that you don't even need a software developer to set up your database anymore, is gonna make Airtable a super cost-effective way to build a business application for your specific business. Fifth, and most importantly to me, because I'm a pretty certified geek when it comes to these things, is Airtable is gonna allow you to automate repetitive tasks and workflows. There are a lot of super cool features such as Airtable automations, Airtable scripts. You can even integrate Airtable with other applications through services like Zapier and Integromat that are gonna make it really easy to create rules that trigger specific actions based on your data. All you need to understand is the logic for how one piece of the puzzle moves to the next step, and Airtable will take care of the rest. So we're definitely gonna get into some examples of how to do that in later videos, but this is really just the rundown of why you might need Airtable for your business and what it can do for you. So, we've covered what is a database, what is Airtable, how do you know if you need it, and what can it do for your business. The next step is to actually start walking through the interface and start playing around with things and seeing how Airtable actually works, in a real way for your business. So I thank you for watching this far, and I hope to see you in the next video.